Good morning, it's Wednesday, October 9th, and today I just thought we could use the discussion time, because normally I would do multiplayer streams tonight, but I'm not going to be able to because I got work stuff that I got to deal with. But what I will say is there are a lot of games that I'm very excited to play and stream in October, and I think there's a lot of spooky games that people are pumped to play and stream in October. So I thought today we could just sort of talk about the games that you are either streaming on your channel, or games you have aspirations to stream, or games that you just generally already been playing for the month of October, so I can hear about some of the spooky titles that I may not be familiar with. So it's sort of as much for me as, kind of putting information out there this morning, because, it's community discussion today, so it's a little bit looser format, kind of like Friday when I try to just do fun stuff in the mornings. So I will say, this was a game, the first one that I want to talk about personally that I played just yesterday is actually What Remains of Edith Finch, or The Remains of Edith, I think it's What Remains of Edith Finch. Sushi, hello, how are you this morning? Would love to hear about your spooky games. But, What Remains of Edith Finch is a game that, it was free on PlayStation Plus. I'd never played it before, and having now finished it, which is only about a 2-hour game, so it's not some massive accomplishment or anything, but I really want to make sure I get a physical copy of this game, because it's got to be one of the best games that I've ever played from a narrative perspective. Now, it is a walking simulator, and a lot of people have strong feelings about walking simulators. They think, oh, that's not a real game, but I think that gaming is such a tremendous medium for storytelling and for narrative that, for me, it was very difficult to kind of overlook this title, and ultimately, my buddy Ben came over yesterday, Monster Popcorn. He's the dude who I've talked about on this channel over and over again when it comes to spooky stuff in October. He is nuts about movies the way I'm nuts about video games. So when we get together, I'll let him borrow some games, he'll let me borrow some movies. And we watched a movie last night, a horror movie called Honeymoon, but then after the honeymoon was over, I guess you might say, we were like, well, let's play something scary. You're here, it's Spooktober. Let's go ahead and play something that's creepy. And at first we were gonna play Dead by Daylight. There was a big patch to download, and I didn't really feel like waiting on it for too long. We were like, well, let's try out this What Remains of Edith Finch game for a few minutes, and we'll just see how it is. Figuring, we'd play it for a little bit and it'd be like, okay, this is kind of neat, and then we just move on to Dead by Daylight because, we love playing as serial killers and whatnot. But ultimately, we got completely hooked on What Remains of Edith Finch, and Ben and I basically played it through to completion over the course of about 2 hours, and it was tremendous. Neo, what's up, man? Caitlin, hello. Nice webs. Thank you so much. That was, I had bought those like a week ago, and I kept forgetting to put them up, so I don't think I did the best job. Like, it's a little bunchy in some areas, but whatever. It's all good Halloween fun. I'm not going to sweat it too much. How big are the spiders in America? We have some big spiders, but nothing like what you see in like Australia or other parts of the world. Like, we have spiders that comparatively people in America will completely freak out and go nuts about, but nothing like a Goliath bird-eating spider or nothing like that. At least I don't think so. I would be curious to know what the biggest spider is in North America, actually, now that I think about it. But yeah, so last night we played What Remains of Edith Finch, and if you're not familiar, essentially it is the story of a family with the last name Finch, so the story of the Finches, and you sort of play through time, right? There have basically been a number of members of the Finch family throughout the years, going all the way back to I think the early 1900s, and you sort of get a tiny peek into each one of their stories and what sort of made them unique, or the kind of question that it poses about almost like fatalism in a way, in terms of belief in a family curse and things like that. And it's just a really beautiful, poignant story with some really sad and depressing moments in it. But it was just one of those things that even though it's low on interactivity, it's high on narrative. And if you have the opportunity to play What Remains of Edith Finch, I absolutely suggest you do so. And at Beck's recommendation, Kawhi Lola, she said, when I mentioned I wanted to play What Remains of Edith Finch at some point, she was like, maybe don't stream that one. And she was absolutely right. I'm not saying you can't stream it. If you want to stream that game and share it with your audience, I think it's tremendous. But it is really sort of like the smaller scale kind of personal story that I think is best enjoyed, solo. Or, in the case of somebody else who really appreciates narrative and is not going to talk through the whole thing or anything. I enjoy playing it with my buddy Ben, but either way, however you decide to play it, make sure you play What Remains of Edith Finch. It was tremendous. I guess as Mario Kart Tour made me cry, they just added in Wario Rosalina, Baby Rosalina, and all the Kooplings, but still no Luigi. Just don't give up hope, Caitlin. He'll show up. He has to. The honeymoon is over, exactly. Which, Honeymoon was like a really creepy movie. Slow start and some really bumbling, cringy dialogue, I thought, in like the first 10-15 minutes. But by the end of it, they do a really good job of just ratcheting up tension tremendously. I'm not going to say there's not any gross moments. There's a couple. But the movie just gets so incredibly tense by the end. It's worth a watch, I think. And I think it's on Netflix right now, too. Call of Duty Modern Warfare. I am picking up Modern Warfare, for sure. Zach. That's not going to get away from me. I wanted to pull the trigger on Ghost Recon, like I was excited about because of John Barenthal and everything. But man, it's just getting slammed so hard right now in all the reviews or all the impressions I've seen that it's basically just a horrible cash grab and kind of a mess of a game that I might check it out, but I ain't paying full price for it. I'll wait till it drops a bit. Kalen says, I know they're probably saving Luigi for when Luigi's Mansion 3 comes out, but that's still stupid. Luigi has done more for the Mario Brothers franchise than just the Luigi's Mansion games. Yeah, and I think you have the nail on the head there, Caitlin. If anything, I didn't even consider that. That's actually pretty tremendous insight. For them, it probably does make sense for them to drop Luigi closer to the release of Luigi's Mansion 3. I wouldn't be surprised if they release Luigi like a week before to kind of drum up excitement for Luigi and his character to in turn drive more sales of Luigi's Mansion 3, which honestly I think that game's going to sell tremendously well. Anyways, I personally can't wait to play it. As I've already mentioned, I took the entire day off for Luigi's Mansion 3. I'm off Halloween. I'm off November 1st. I will probably pick up the game Halloween day, and depending if I'm not, hanging out with friends or doing something else that's spooky, like going to a haunted house or something, I'll end up streaming that certainly November 1st, almost all day, because I could not be more excited for that. I love the original. I love Dark Moon. I'm very excited to play Luigi's Mansion 3, and I think you're right. I think they're going to use that as kind of a marketing ploy of sorts to try to get more people invested in it. I've got it, but not played it. Wait, What Remains of Edith Finch, you mean? Oak City says, scariest game for October, Hello Kitty Cruisers Cruise. Yeah. I think I've seen that game before. I never played it. There are a few kart racers, though, that I haven't played. Like, I know there's a Nickelodeon one. I still haven't played All-Star Fruit Racing, even though I've got like, oh, this is going to be funny. I'm going to play this instead of Mario Kart some night. Never got around to it. I was actually thinking earlier when I was getting ready for this that there's a tremendous amount of games on my backlog that not only have I not really played, but some of which I haven't even opened yet. So I think I'm actually going to corral all of those at some point, maybe this weekend or next weekend, and just put them in a giant pile and just start rolling a 20-sided or something to decide which game rotting on my backlog deserves to be played that day. Just leave it to fate. Dad, good morning. How are you? Breakpoint is poo-poo stinky. That's what I keep hearing, Zach. I'm not going to go for it full price. Cancel, they should have included him from the beginning. They could have still celebrated the release with a Luigi's Mansion track. Good point. They could have brought Luigi into the fold immediately and then released a bonus track to get people excited and remind them that Luigi's Mansion 3 exists. I don't think that would have been the worst thing in the world. Neo says, Josh, Mario keeps making me play Ewoks on Star Wars. Make her stop. No, if she loves Ewoks, that's okay. You can take that hit. That's not a horrible sacrifice, right? Mario and Peach are on the Tokyo track with their Japanese outfits. Luigi should be in this game by now and having his own Japanese outfit. I'm sorry, I'm trying to be more positive, but this is driving me crazy. I would let him know on Twitter or something. Like, if you have strong opinions about it, I mean, I know Nintendo loves feedback. I mean, most companies love feedback. Let them know. Someone's been web slinging. I know, Dad. Like, I had like one pack of spooky spider webs, and I finally put them up yesterday. But yeah, and other spooky games that I'm pumped to play, like I want to finish Man of Medan with Daniel, because I think that the graphics on that game are tremendous, but then again, it's not a game that has like massive wide open environments where they would have to render a lot of stuff on the fly. It's a very sort of contained kind of horror experience, very claustrophobic in that way, but in turn it makes the character models look tremendous. Like, it is spooky how good all of the characters look in Man of Medan, if you actually try playing through that game. The Ewoks in that game are terrifying. I mean, I think Ewoks have traditionally been sort of terrifying. I mean, originally they were, just like a vehicle to sell toys for the franchise, so that's not overly surprising, I guess. Zach says, did you see the news about the PS5? Yes, Austin gave me a little bit of insight into at least the controller changes they were making, which sound really awesome. The fact that they can fine-tune haptic feedback, particularly on the triggers, to provide a different experience, like if you're drawing a bow back, if you're pulling the trigger like an AR-15 or something like that, I think that's really quite awesome, and I'm curious to see if it's actually going to be something different, or if it's going to just be sort of souped-up HD rumble we already have in the Nintendo Switch. But yeah, I'm curious about the controller in particular. Now, as far as the specs for the system itself and how they're talking about apparently in the UI itself, for instance, if you had a game and you were making progress on it and you just highlighted that game in the interface without fully booting the game, apparently it can show you things like your mission progress and where you could jump right back into the game. And I'm sure a lot of this is made possible thanks to their reliance on SSD storage instead of hard drive based storage. I don't know if it would have been possible the other way, at least for like an instant boot. I guess we'll know whenever we finally see these features in action. But the fact that they can sort of keep in the background running like multiplayer matches for a multiplayer style game that you can just immediately jump into with the press of a button, or that you can see exactly what level you left off on a single player adventure and dive right back into it and see, what trophies you could unlock and things like that. I think that's a really cool idea, right? I think they understand that, we're very much an instant gratification society, and anything they can do to close that gap a little bit or keep us away from loading screens is probably going to work in their favor in a significant way. Happy finds yesterday a PlayStation ASCII Pad turbocharged, a 360 controller, $5 for both, and a Spyro Heroes Tale for 75 cents. Not bad at all. Speaking of controllers, have you seen that slime controller they do for Dragon Quest? Apparently this isn't a new development. I guess they did it in the GameCube or PS2 era as well. But apparently there's an updated version for the Switch, which I had no idea. I can't imagine it's overly comfortable to play with a slime-shaped controller. but I thought it was fun and interesting. Probably a nice display piece. I feel like that's the kind of thing that Discard would have among his collection on his shelves. No, Josh, you don't know they're terrifying and they're little demon eyes. I know they have little demon eyes, but you're mainly staring at the back of their head if you're playing as them, right? I mean, how bad can it be? Quick Sam, what's up, man? How you doing this morning? Zex says, I've nearly finished Uncharted 1 and I bought the Nathan Drake collection. So when it comes to Uncharted, that kills me because Naughty Dog is an incredible company, right? I'm very pumped for The Last of Us Part 2. Can't wait for it. Got the LE edition pre-ordered. Amazed I was able to pull that off. But one of the first questions I get whenever I talk about it, someone's like, you play the Nathan Drake collection? And the answer is kind of. I beat Golden Abyss on the Vita. I beat the first Uncharted, and then that's where I stopped. I have not played 2, 3, Thief's End, and was there one other spin-off in the Uncharted collection, I thought? But yeah, I haven't played anything past Golden Abyss or 1. Every time I say that, like, Dom from the Game Lose the other day was like, what are you talking about? Why haven't you played through 2? Like, 1 is garbage compared to 2 and 3 and a Thief's End, apparently. So that would be, part of my backlog experiment, to play through 2, 3, and 4. Tosma says, I'm considering streaming PT on Halloween. Please stream PT on Halloween. And please let me know exactly when that's happening, because I would love to drop in for that. Because what's crazy is I thought that when you downloaded PT, right, because as a lot of you know, if you're not familiar, PT was a playable teaser that was supposed to help promote the Silent Hills game. It was supposed to be a collaborative effort between Norman Reedus, Guillermo del Toro, and Hideo Kojima, which, I mean, those names alone, and the fact they were connected with arguably one of my favorite game series of all time, was extremely exciting stuff. And somehow I knew when they made the announcement, it was too good to be true. And in fact, that ended up being the case. Kojima and Konami parted ways. That whole thing kind of dissolved and went away. Thankfully, they were able to reconnect for Death Stranding, which I'm also very excited about this year. And I would love to stream that while we're staying slightly on topic. But PT was a playable teaser, just kind of a tech demo to kind of show what Kojima could get done with, taking a stab at the creepy genre, I guess. And it's a tremendous game where you're basically stuck in an endless loop hallway, although things start changing and it gets very scary very quickly. And I thought, Top Spot, that once you downloaded that to a PS4, which I had done on my original PS4, that from that point on I couldn't just re-download it to whatever PlayStation I wanted, and somehow I did. To my PlayStation 4 Pro, because I have my original PlayStation 4 since 2013, I guess, when it launched. And then I got the Spider-Man PS4 Pro last year, because I was like, it's about the end of the console's life cycle. I should probably get the beefiest, most upgraded version I can, and with Spider-Man, no less. And I can't remember if it's because I downloaded it directly. I don't think I did. I think it's because I used the option to copy content from one console on the network to another. And to my surprise yesterday, I was able to boot up PT just fine, which I didn't think I would be able to do. So that was pretty great. Quick saying, I'm doing pretty great, man. I'm a little caffeinated. Switching up this morning. No cotton candy bang. We're doing pina colada flavored. Feeling tropical, despite the fact that it's fairly brisk in Columbus right now. Joseph, hello, man. I've been playing Link's Awakening lately, and I've been loving it. I never played the original much, so this is a fresh experience for me. See, I played the original a lot, but it was also like 20 years ago, because I'm 100. And I have to say, I know a lot of people took issue with the graphical presentation of that game and everything. I think it's tremendous. It looks just very much like a dreamscape, and the graphics are adorable and everything. And I've been having fun with it too, but tragically, I'm still only about 2 dungeons in. But I'm hoping to make some progress soon. Red, good morning. Are you talking about Layers of Fear? No, but I have Layers of Fear somewhere. Hold on. So I was able to get the Layers of Fear Collector's Edition for the Nintendo Switch from Limited Run Games, but it came out on the Xbox Game Pass, so I really have no reason to open this. I'm going to get the best presentation for the Xbox version, but I thought this was very cool. Maybe I should just open it now. We can see what kind of creepy stuff's in here. Which, Layers of Fear, from what I've played so far, is another sort of walking simulator, albeit with a little bit more interactivity than what you got from What Remains of Edith Finch. But they do some really trippy things with the environment. I think I don't want to call them a one-trick pony there, and I think it probably gets old on a long enough timeline, but I mean, I guess you could say that of most games. But still, I do enjoy what I play with it. I think I'll be busting out Dead by Daylight on Friday. I feel the need to slaughter some humans. That was a game that I was going to play yesterday with Ben, but then we just got sucked into What Remains of Edith Finch. Oak says, hey, I gotta run to work. Catch y'all later on. Oak, thanks for hanging out, man. You have a good one at work. I just got here. Endless Halls is either PT or Layers of Fear. Yeah, we were talking about PT first, and then when you brought up Layers of Fear, it just reminded me that for whatever reason, most of my games are downstairs, and what I am revamping as the gaming room, or the game room, and I guess I'll have to make a video of that at some point, when I can make videos again, which can't wait. Super excited to start making videos again. But if for whatever reason I had Layers of Fear handy up here, I assume because I wanted it to be like set dressing for Spooktober and everything, but yeah. I need to play Layers of Fear as well. Heard mixed things about it though, and I think those mixed things are probably accurate. I finally unboxed my Switch. I am looking forward to Mario and Sonic at the Tokyo Olympics. I hope my girlfriend likes it. I was not nuts about it when I played it at E3, but I did it because they were giving out free T-shirts if you were willing to play it. Which, if you have to bait people into playing your game, probably not a good sign. But ever since I saw they added that 16-bit mode, that is more appealing to me. Like, if I can find a good deal, I wouldn't pay full price for it. The Olympics games are not really my thing, but to play it in 16-bit mode might push me over the edge on a discount purchase. What is PT? Is that what you're saying? What game is it? PT was a playable demo that came out in, what was that, 2015, 2016? I think 2015. But basically, there was a short window of time to download it. Now you can't get it, and if you have a PlayStation 4 and you put it up on eBay and it's got PT on it, you can demand a premium for it, as I understand it. I would probably never do that, but it's interesting because it's not a game that you can easily grab again. Hey YP2 Cap, what's up, man? How you doing this morning? What spooky games will you be indulging this October, sir? No, preserve its value. What? Don't open it? But it's got a sweet poster and a soundtrack in there, man. I'm bad about opening stuff. Although, weirdly, I do struggle with Amiibo. Like, I have some open Amiibo, but now, whenever I get them, I'm always just like, I don't want to open it. But I kind of do. I don't know. And I haven't picked up... I need to pick up that Solid Snake one, too, actually. No, I've not played Layers of Fear 2, although I saw some people were saying it was worse than the first one. I'm not sure if that's true or not. Lost Legacy is the name of the spin-off, and I recommend all the other games, but I finished The Last of Us in the DLC. It is now one of my favorite games ever. Now, can't wait for part 2. Dude, it's one of my favorites too. That's another game that's on my list actually to play or to stream this month. Even though I've played The Last of Us a few times and loved it, and it's amazing, I never played Left Behind, the DLC. I think I intentionally, at a certain point, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to save it to get myself super excited for when 2 is going to come out. Now it's about to come out, so I'm definitely going to stream the Left Behind, which I think is only like a 2 or 3 hour affair. I don't think it's a very long expansion, but it'd be fun to dive back into that world and see how that narrative plays out. Cap says Layers of Fear was boring and predictable. I enjoyed it at first, but it quickly got old. So did the story just not hook you moving forward, like as you learn new things, or you just mean like mechanically speaking, like the shifting hallways and the spooky stuff just fails to be effective after a certain point? The bad guy is here. Good morning, bad guy. He says, good morning, I love this channel, and also today is my birthday. My name is Walter. Just wanted to see if I could get a shout out. You can get a shout out as much as I will say, yes, the bad guy is here, and happy birthday. If that's what you mean. So thanks for being here, man. I appreciate it. Hello, Walter. Happy birthday. Luigi's Mansion 3 and Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020 are my 2 most anticipated games for this year. Right on. And those are releasing fairly close to each other, so, that's a good thing, Caitlin. Congratulations. Red says, it's what started the F Konami movement. Yeah, I would say that whole Silent Hills thing definitely played a huge part in it. They said that they will stop making games and only make pachinko machines. Then my Metal Gear Solid games dropped in value. Yeah, it's tragic, but totally true. Cap says, I'm playing mostly retro stuff, replaying Resident Evil 4 variant. Are you doing that on the Switch, or are you doing it on a different console? Gargoyles Quest 2, I do remember you mentioning Gargoyles Quest 2. Castlevania 3, Monster Hunter Pocket. Castlevania 3 I now have in my collection, thanks to the Southeast Game Exchange. Theoretically, I guess I could have played on the Castlevania collection, which I did get that for the Switch. If I stream it, I'll probably do the Switch version, because I know that it has the enhanced audio option, doesn't it? Because I know that the Japanese version of that didn't have an audio chip that was not present in the North American version, so the music was better on it. I thought I remembered that. I may be speaking incorrectly. Red says, because everyone hates Konami now, even when they drop a new game, they are always underwhelming. Yeah, I mean, they fell from grace in a big way, and I hate that, because Konami was up there with, like, Capcom for me, right, in the 90s. Like, if I saw the Konami logo, especially, like, you blink on an arcade machine, or as the startup screen for a game like Turtles in Time, you knew you were going to get a quality experience. And now the Konami name I don't even like the Konami logo compared to their old school logo, man. Like, I hope they make a comeback someday. I really do. Thanks, Neo. Joseph. Wait. Layers of Fear was a great horror game, really fun. No Friend says, do you know what it's about? The expansion, I only have the lightest understanding of what it's about. I know it's about Ellie before she meets Joel, and I know she's teamed up with somebody, but that is about the extent of my knowledge on the expansion of the original Last of Us. Luigi's Mansion 3 is my most anticipated game of the year. For next year, my most anticipated games are Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated, which I saw a lot of people were pumped for that. I never played the original, so I have no nostalgia there to draw me in, but I may try it. I don't know, we'll see. And Animal Crossing New Horizons. Joseph, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not an Animal Crossing fan. Not because I don't think it's adorable. It's not that I don't appreciate the game mechanics or what it tries to do. I can't handle the stress, that real-time pull of knowing in the back of my mind when I'm doing something that isn't Animal Crossing, that there are things waiting for me to do in Animal Crossing. And if I don't do those things immediately, I'm going to miss windows of opportunity. That's why I prefer Stardew Valley. When I stop, time stops. Cap says the spooky stuff failed to be effective, and it relied so much on jump scares, you saw them coming a mile away. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, you can do jump scares effectively, I think, but I think it's something that's best doled out in a measured way. People that just, because once it becomes routine, it stops being effective altogether. I mean, the same thing is true of movies. Like, I thought The Nun was going to be a really creepy movie, and that was basically just nothing but jump scares one after another. And I think that's the only horror movie I can remember where I actually fell asleep in the middle of it, which made me feel kind of bad, but I mean, it didn't keep me sucked in. Zach says, and then they didn't help themselves out with Metal Gear Survive. Yeah, I didn't even touch Metal Gear. I heard it was an abomination. I assumed it to be true, and I'll probably never play it. I'll be watching through the Freddy collection that I have on DVD. Very nice, man. I'm actually streaming Resident Evil 4 on GameCube and playing it on PS4 off stream. Now, are you using like an Eon HD adapter for that, or you have an HDMI out for the GameCube, or playing it on PS4? Okay, so off stream you're just playing it for enjoyment then, but if you're streaming it directly from the GameCube, I would be curious what the connection you're using for that. I was able to get an HDMI modded GameCube on the channel like last year that I bought from Rocker Gaming, which again does tremendous work. If you've never heard of Rocker Gaming Mods, check that dude out. He's tremendous. And he had sent me what I purchased from him was the HDMI modded GameCube, and it works so well. Such a great system. Wish you all the best. Thank you, bad guy. It's very kind of you. I hate Resident Evil 4 on PS4 because they still don't even add a platinum trophy. I've beaten the game too much, so I don't need to play it anymore. Fair enough. Personally, I'm not really an achievement/trophy hunter. I don't mind when they're in a game, and it feels nice when I get one accidentally, but I'm never like, ooh, I need to go look up an achievement or a trophy hunting guide to do that. I know there are gamers that love it. For me, it's a nice to have, not a need to have necessarily. Joe says, I remember Konami making some pretty good licensed games, like Tiny Toons ones. They absolutely did make some amazing games in the 90s. Good for you, Caitlin. I think with your love and passion, you should see if you should do a breakdown of his history for people who may not know. I would watch that video. I would be very curious. Should I get Doraemon? My students seem to love the anime. The game is similar to Harvest Moon, I think. I think that might be good for the Switch. I fell asleep watching The Nun. Yeah, it's not a ringing endorsement. I'm glad I wasn't the only one. But Doraemon, I have no familiarity with. And I actually had to get a re-education, or I guess initial education, from, I think it was Sushi Fairy, Maro, and Kawaii Lolo, who were trying to explain to me what Doraemon was. As I understand it, you have a robot cat friend. I don't know if that is, the titular character. I don't know if his name just is Doraemon, but apparently that is a long-running anime that has been around since, I think Beck said 1968, 1969, somewhere in there. So it's, something with a long and fabled history and important to a lot of people, and apparently they're nuts about this game. I'm willing to give it a shot, I think. I want to know more about it, because I can't really tell from the gameplay footage I've seen before if it's just running around and interacting with townspeople and a little bit of farming, or if you can also go a little bit deeper and build things, like, like my time at Porsche, for example, which is not great, if I'm being honest, although I love what it tried to do. Or, what's another game that has farming and building? Help me. Dragon Quest Builders 2, one of my favorite games of this year. If it's like that, then I'll probably go for it. If it's just farming, I'll see, because I know I'm going to do Animal Crossing next year, but we'll see. I'm not sure. Got a dash. Take care, man. Thanks for hanging out a little bit, Zach. But yeah, I will say it looks adorable. Doraemon looks like an adorable game. Also, today I realized my 100 subs video today, and I'm seeing what people want as a thank you. I am nervous. No, don't be nervous, man. That's tremendous. Congratulations on 100 subs. And, as far as what you should do now, do more of the thing that works, and enjoy it. Enjoy your successes. Nope, just using the original hookups. I don't mod any consoles. I prefer games to be played the way they were originally made. When I play NES, I still use RF. But what's the interface to get it to streaming then? Do you have like a Dazzle or something that has composite inputs and then it goes through USB so you can stream it? Is that what you mean? How is Rune Factory? Couldn't tell you. I've never played it, but that's another one that I know that I think Maro and Kawaii Lola are both into. If they were here, they would be all over this conversation, but as it stands, I can't speak to it very intelligently. If they want to see a Q&A or something special, I can do for them. You could try it. I did. Well, I didn't really do a Q. I just didn't ask me anything, which honestly, I don't really think it's that momentous of a thing for me to do on this channel because I'm pretty chatty and conversational anyways, and keep things, I think, fairly transparent. But I mean, just make the content that you enjoy making that, hopefully your audience will appreciate as well. It's, try to find that intersection. That's usually what I do here. I try to keep a fairly good balance of raw video game content to, helpful content for, other people who run gaming channels, obviously, because that's what a lot of this morning content's been structured around. But, that's the thing. I can even say that I've honestly cracked that nut yet, right? Because, there are questions that I have, and I'm wondering, like, ooh, am I shooting myself in the foot long term? And, if I do too much video game content only, or if I do too much helpful content only, that's kind of my struggle. But ultimately, what I've determined is the important thing is that I just keep going, right? I may make some missteps here and there, but ultimately, the fact that I'm still making content is probably the most important thing. I use an Elgato with composite in and HD out. I have an Elgato, and I think it was I don't even know if they called it the HD third, but I think it was just the, oh my goodness, help me. I think it was just the Elgato HD, but I used to have the breakout cable 4 composite connections, and I think it did component too, now that I think about it, but I lost the cable somewhere, and for the life of me, I can't find a place to buy another one. I suppose I could go check on eBay and see if there's one secondhand, but I would love to buy it directly from them to replace it, but yeah, that would have been nice. I'm mostly with you, Captain Algebra. Modding is really interesting, but I can't see doing it to my systems unless I have one modded and one unmodded. Yeah, like with the GameCube, I have one unmodded and I have one modded. So I would be right there with you, Toss, but I would not rely solely on a single modded console. But I think the modding community is incredibly interesting and they do phenomenal work. But you're right. Like, in most things, I'm not a purist. The way I see it, you enjoy your game or your video game experience or your culture experience, however it makes sense to you. Not my place to judge. If you're having a good time, great. Gaming's supposed to be fun. But for me personally, when it comes to consoles and stuff, I do like to have like one just unsullied sort of original console, and then I would add a secondary console that would be modded, but I wouldn't probably make that my primary go-to. Although I will say the GameCube makes a strong argument for staying hooked up more often than the other ones, just because HDMI is super convenient, right? And it seems to work really well. Did I miss it? What will you be playing this month, PT? Okay, this month I will be playing Ghostbusters more for sure. I'll probably do that tonight since we're not doing the multiplayer stream. Beyond Ghostbusters, I will be doing The Last of Us The Last of Us Left Behind, I think. I think that's the name of the expansion. I'll be doing that because I really want to play it. I'll be doing Luigi's Mansion on Halloween and probably November 1st, since I took those 2 days off explicitly for that game's launch. I'll be doing some Dead by Daylight and some Friday the 13th, assuming I can get a multiplayer stream in before the end of the month, which next week I'm not on call, I'm just on rollover, so I think it'll be more doable then. But yeah, for multiplayer horror games, maybe even Black Ops Zombies would be fun to play through some more. I'm not sure. As far as other single-player horror experiences go, I'm not streaming, but I'm playing Deathmark, which is a pretty creepy visual novel-style game that I picked up the collector's edition for. It's hanging out back there with the Ghost. But I think those are probably some of the heavy hitters. I would like to get back to Days Gone, but I let a buddy borrow it, and I haven't gotten it back from him yet. Because I only lightly played it, and then my friend was like, can I borrow it? And I was like, absolutely. Like, I've got other games to play, and I just kind of forgot about it, and that was like 3 months ago. But yeah, those are probably some of the heavy hitters. Ghostbusters, Dead by Daylight, Luigi's Mansion 3, definitely when that comes out at the end of the month. 8-Bit, what's up, man? Okay, I'm here now. The party can really start. Good morning. Good morning, man. I hope it's off to a good one for you. Let's see. I really find remastered to be as good as originals. The modding community in gaming reminds me of a custom mod community in vehicles. I could see some parallels drawn there, especially if you think about Russ Lyman, who kind of does both. Did you decide if you'll be doing Ghostbusters as a full series? I'm going to continue it. I'm going to continue to play it exclusively on stream, not off stream. So in a way, if I can complete it, yes, it will be a full series. It's only like, I think the main game, even if you're playing at a meandering pace, is like 9-10 hours, maybe a little bit more. So I think I could probably swing that. It would be like 4 or 5 play sessions. I think I can knock that. I'm gonna try, Neo. I am definitely a purist, but I don't judge how others want to play their games. I do judge those with sealed games in their collection. Games are meant to be played. Well, yeah, some of the games that I have were not necessarily initially meant to be sealed. For instance, like Layers of Fear, for example, right? Like this I got because I liked the idea the collector's edition was going to open it. Haven't done it yet. But then it came to Game Pass, so I was like, well, I can play it in much better graphical fidelity on the Xbox. But yeah, I don't... And that's the thing, like, so do you mind people who have sealed games if they buy duplicates? Because I know that Muzz, for example, L1 Games, like, he buys just about 2 of every game, and I think he leaves 1 sealed, and then he has 1 for play. And I think a lot of people do that with limited run purchases as well. The Last of Us Left Behind prequel DLC, yes, that is what I will be playing. What? Oh, that sounds about right to me, Camp. Hey, 8-bit. Shouldn't you be teaching? I have to play Deathmark 2. Yeah, it's spooky, man. I played it with headphones on. I basically played it in bed before I go to sleep because it's October and everything. And it's pretty terrifying, but I don't think it would be the best to stream necessarily. You should tell your friend to get Gameplay. Possible, but that's the thing that I love about having collecting games, right? It's not so much that I'm like, I need 10,000 games and then my collection will be complete. I'm not really interested in that. I'm more interested in having just like a curated collection of games that are either personally very special to me, but maybe not well received critically, or just a solid collection of titles that I know just about anybody can pick up and have fun with. And I keep a physical collection, not so I can be like, look at this amazing physical collection, even though it is fun to look at and I like, keeping it tidy and curated and everything. But for me, the joy comes from someone who is either not into games or they're trying it for the first time or they just got a new system and they're not sure what they should do. I love being able to just like chuck someone like Ben when he left last night. I gave that dude like 5 or 6 of my Switch games. Like, here, go have fun, because he was thinking about buying one. And I was like, try these ones first. Like, that's what the joy for me is, just sharing the collection with somebody else, so they can figure out what they do and don't like. I've been sick since Friday, hoping to be back tomorrow. Oh man, I hope you feel better, Cap. It sucks. Or get his own copy. I know, I should have. That's good. Very glad to hear. Especially since I've had to avoid my daughters for so long. It sucks. Yeah, I'm sorry, man. Hopefully you recover quickly. I have many Final Fantasy X HDs, limited editions, and collector's editions. Yeah, I like limited edition collector's edition. What I don't do is I don't try to display everything. The way I do my collection, I'll probably talk about this when I make the game room video when I'm done doing all the work in the basement. Is I usually keep a lot of my collector's editions in storage and not displayed, like in a room off of it. And then when it comes to the main area where my game collection is, I pick 5 to 10 pieces I really like, and then I display them. And then over time, I kind of swap them out with other pieces, just because I don't like the display philosophy of having everything visible all the time. For me, I just think it doesn't look as good as if you give things sort of space to breathe, right? Because I think I mean, I'm not like an interior designer, but I know one of the tenets of, or one of the principles of interior design is that you give things margin or space, right? Because when you allow negative space to exist around something in particular that you like or something that's visually pleasing, then it has a way of sort of drawing the eye into that thing and makes it a little bit more pronounced than if you just have, a ton. It's a less is more philosophy. Maybe not everyone shares that, but that's how I tend to display things in my collection. Discard would probably be horrified at that statement, but I just find it more pleasing personally to look at that way. And I always get surprised because I feel like if I looked at all my stuff all the time, then I would start to take some of it for granted, or I would be bored by some of them. But if they're not my immediate field of vision, and then I swap them out, a few times a year, I think it gets me more excited for that original edition, or respect it more. Like right now, I don't have the Octopath Traveler Collector's Edition on display. It's one of my favorites, but probably in a couple of months I'll pull it out and put it up on the shelf. Josh Johnson, hello, how are you doing this morning? Great name, by the way. Big fan. Let's see, where are we at? I've been so busy lately with work and other stuff, I hope to stream anything this month. One thing I would love to stream is House of the Dead 3 on the original Xbox. God, that would be super fun. I never played Vampire Knight, and I always wanted to play Vampire Knight. Someday I will. What? Hold on. Red's Third Dimension Gaming says favorite game. Ugh, that's such a big question. I mean, I could tell you some of my favorites. As far as picking one unified favorite, like Desert Island, you gotta play this for the rest of your life, I'd probably cop out behind something like Super Mario World. Well, no. If I was a Desert Island game, if I had internet on the Desert Island, I would go Mario Maker 2, right? Because then you would have effectively infinite platforming challenges, and I feel like platformers are in a lot of ways, I think, the essence of gameplay. Or maybe I'm just nostalgic for what I grew up on. But some of my favorites would be, like Breath of the Wild, the original Command and Conquer, from the 80s, the Colonel's Bequest. What else? Obviously, well, yeah, The Last of Us. Bioshock Infinite, I thought was tremendous. Huge improvement over Bioshock 2, and right up there with Bioshock 1, in my opinion. But, yeah, there's just too many, man. I mean, there's a lot of games in my collection. It would be hard for me to pick an absolute favorite, but I would be curious to know if you have an absolute favorite. Dragon Quest Builders 2 would be on my favorites list just because it's adorable and seemingly infinite. People actually buy 2 copies to keep. Oh yeah, Muzz is a really serious collector. Like, his game collection, he could basically start a museum if he wanted to. I'm not joking. Like, I'm not at liberty to discuss the full breadth of his collection. That would be a question best asked to him. But I can tell you, it's staggering. Like, it's You know, like I've got a couple of full shelves that probably combined have close to 1,000, maybe a little bit over 1,000 titles. That dude has like, I'm pretty sure tens of thousands of games. Like he is very serious about his collection. Especially since I've had to. Oh wait, no. Where am I at? Where am I at? If I had the cash, I would have gotten 2 of each of my amiibo. I don't want to open them, but I want to open them. Yeah, yeah. Or I guess you could get one of those things where it's like it just has the reader, right? Slightly unethical, but they sell them in GameStop, which I was surprised by, and you wouldn't think that would happen. That's a big pet peeve to me. There's no reason someone needs an open and a sealed copy of a game. What's the point of having a game sitting on a shelf and collecting dust? Well, if that's how they enjoy it, like you said earlier, if you don't care how they enjoy their games, and that brings them joy, well, I don't see the problem with that. That's debatable, right? Especially when you talk about games from places like Limited Run. That's a very selfish way of thinking. Interesting. Wait, is Discard here? I was just talking about you, Discard. And I didn't know if you would endorse or be horrified by my display philosophy for my game room. Thank you for coming out. What do you think about all the PlayStation 5 announcements this week? I think it's exciting stuff. I think they're drip feeding us information. I'll slowly start fueling that hype machine. But I think Sony's smart, and I think they're going to try to pull the same thing they did in the last generation's launch. I think they are going to try to. I think right now what they're doing, I think they're trying to bait Microsoft. I think they're trying to build up some hype and some excitement in the marketplace, hoping that they can bait Microsoft into dumping even more information or trying to come over the top. And we'll see if it works. I think Microsoft knows the game they're playing after the way that they just oh man, they just destroyed them at the beginning of this generation. I think Microsoft's going to be hip to that game, but if they're not hip to the game, what I think will happen is Sony will continue to drip feed information and gradually scale it up in terms of their media presence to get consumers excited about it. Microsoft will worry about losing market share or basically just losing relevance in the public perception. I think they may come over the top and be like, oh yeah, well our system's going to come out even earlier and it's going to launch at this price point, because I think that's what Sony's keying off of, because they know they're in a bad spot from a margin standpoint, right? We know this thing's going to be packed with technology. If they're including things like ray tracing, they're going solid state. These are expensive components to add into a gaming console, right? Probably the most expensive one they've ever produced. And, with that in mind, if they can get Microsoft to be like, we're launching at 500, and Sony can be like, we're going to launch it, or if Microsoft's like, we're going to launch at 500, and then Sony's like, ooh, we're going to launch at 450 or 4, I think their thing is, I think they're willing to get the initial burst sales and basically fall back on attachment rates to kind of fill some of the gap that they're going to lose, because again, it's expensive. They're going to be taking a loss on each console almost certainly, but I think that they realize that, I don't want to say if you get there first you win, because I think the Dreamcast proved that isn't true, but there is something to be said for establishing a presence early on, and the fact that they're heavily leaning on backward compatibility and your existing PS4 games are supposed to work on the PS5 will give them a really good value proposition. Of course, Microsoft's killing it with backward compatibility, but yeah, I'm excited. I think they're going to keep drip feeding us information, and I think that they're using this as a tactic to bait Microsoft to dump more information so that they can make a more strategic play closer to the launch date. That's my theory. I said I don't care people how play their games. Hoarding multiple copies is a selfish way of collecting. Selfish in what regard? You mean because other people can't buy them? Lunch full of stuff, but still moving in the right direction. Have you been sick as well, Discard? If so, I hope you feel better. 1,000 gigs. Yeah, it might not be 1,000. I need to go count them and get a better handle on it, but... I want to get Dino Stalker on PS2, another light gun game I'm missing. I wish they would do a remake of Dino Crisis. That would be amazing. That could be fun. I heard PS5 is going to be 850. Ooh, that's going to be a hard sell. Ugh. News says it's not selfish. There's enough copies of games out there. Well, I think it depends. I mean, kind of to Cap's point, I mean, there are games that get an extremely limited print run, right? But then there are games, like Grand Theft Auto. That's never going to be a rare game, right? There are just millions upon millions of those games floating around, so that's never going to be something you're going to have a hard time finding. I think it could be another PS3 problem if they release it at 500. If they release it at 500 and Microsoft goes 6, they might stand a chance. They tried to launch the PS3 originally at 600, didn't they? In 2005, I thought, and then they had to dial it back because everyone thought that was absurd, especially when the 360 was coming in at 300 at launch. Is that right? I'll have to check my facts there. Where are we at? Now the eBay resellers are annoying. I really wanted to try to get an early edition of The Last of Us Part 2. Yeah, I mean, that's supply and demand, right? I mean, there's just As soon as people know there's going to be a ton of people that are going to want something, people are going to try to scoop them up and resell them. And depending on your perspective, it's either, completely fine or it's completely deplorable. Not necessarily, DN, what if half the world wanted a game, there aren't enough copies, then add in limited run style, there are definitely not enough copies. Yeah, I mean, I can see that argument, but at the same time, I mean, like, there's always going to be things that there are shortages of in the world, right? I mean, you almost put pressure on the publisher at that point. Like, if it's in such limited supply and the demand's, there, like, why didn't they put out more copies of the game? With the way game companies chuck out copies of games now, that's enough. Except in the case of some of the limited run games. Like right now, for instance, I would love to have a physical copy of What Remains of Edith Finch, but I also know that it's going for $100 plus on eBay, which is kind of a bummer, but if it weren't... If there were more copies, it wouldn't be valuable as a collector. Now, I'm not somebody who really places emphasis on collectible value, and I'm not like, ooh, my collection is good because I have X number of titles worth X number of dollars. I don't really care about that. But I guess there is a point of pride in knowing that you have a collection piece that's really nice, or that it's something that's sought after. Because there are multiple ways to enjoy gaming as a hobby, right? Like, some people enjoy the hustle of, getting a great deal on games, and they can even craft entire channels around that. Some people enjoy the collection aspect and unboxing and just having, really nice shelf candy. Some people just enjoy playing the games. Some people enjoy playing the games in a casual way. Some people love to be that, like, achievement hunter, trophy hunter, and just really just explore every nook and cranny of what a game has to offer. I mean, there are a ton of different ways to enjoy games. Personally, it doesn't matter to me. Like, Cap, you have some strong opinions about it. I personally don't. I mean, in so much as, I guess maybe a little bit, just because, if I have trouble finding a game, I get kind of bummed out about it, but, it's not the end of the world. 8-Bit says, little off topic, but excited tonight, meeting up with an old drummer I used to play with, and meeting some new musicians to see if we all gel. Very cool, man. That sounds fun. Sometimes I wonder if I should get a hobby outside of gaming. I don't know. I've thought about that recently, but I don't know what I would do, like put together puzzles or, build ships inside of bottles or something. I have not touched my guitar seriously in like 4 years, so a little rusty and nervous. I'm sure it'll be fine. It's got to be like riding a bike, right? People can buy a Final Fantasy X. Don't worry. Well, yeah, you're not. There's like a billion. It's on a billion platforms. Like, you're not gonna have trouble finding a copy of Final Fantasy X. Captain Algebra says, yes, I'm all about sharing the wealth. Interesting. You mean just like conceptually or specifically within the realm of games? Why get a normal one when you can get a special silver one with artwork? I'm not sure which one you're referring to. Good luck, 8-Bit. I think you need to clean your home there. Your player, I know, right? They're taking over Top Spot. Anyway, I need to take off. Enjoy. Have a great morning, day, night, whatever. You too, Top. Thanks for hanging out, dude. I appreciate it. If people really want a game, they'll play any edition of a game. I could see that argument. The newer limited run pre-order idea is pretty solid. If you want it, pre-order, but they'd not have survived with that style when they were smaller. Yeah, and I think that it's a good place for them to be right now. I think that kind of puts to rest a lot of the complaints people had about the limited run business model, where they were just like, all these people go on there, including scalpers, and they snatch them up, and then I get no chance to grab it and play it myself. But the open pre-order model, I think, is great. It's like, you have plenty of time to pre-order it, and then if you don't and they're gone, well, that's on you for missing out. You have plenty of time to get it in. Most of my games are digital now because of where I live. I love the convenience of digital, but it'll never trump physical for me. One day it'll be the norm, and I love the convenience of digital. But I'm going to be sad when I can't just go to a store and see, a wall full of shelves without going to, like, a very niche specialty store, That everyone always talks about, like, oh, GameStop's going to die. And eventually, yeah, they will. But also, a lot of us who are just like serves them right for all that horrible stuff they did. I think even those people are going to be a little bit sad on that day. Because I have a lot of great memories in GameStop. And even though I don't always agree with their policies, their in-store staff have always been tremendously kind to me. Always good people who really know their stuff about gaming. And I've enjoyed their company immensely. Maybe I just didn't enjoy their company immensely, if that makes sense. Lenda, what's up? Caitlin, you on Twitter, and have you been doing content for your channel yet? Best Buy also has it, so why the normal Switch lights when this special edition version is only $200? I went with yellow, and then it got busted. Well, it had a sticky shoulder button on it, which I was playing Dragon Quest and just noticed. I wasn't even playing any faster frenetic games, really, so I ended up exchanging it for the turquoise one. I had the option to pre-order the Pokemon one, and I thought about it, but ultimately did not. I definitely have strong opinions and don't shy away from them. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Sharing the wealth in general, but today we're specifically talking about gaming. I gotcha. Best Buy also has it, so... Oh, wait, no, sorry, I already read that. How's your new Switch doing? New Switch is doing great. I've been playing, I started playing Ghostbusters on it, and then, like, I basically started the game over to play on the regular Switch so I could stream it and everything. But I've been playing, like, Deathmark on it, and Dragon Quest XI on it, and it's performing really well. We don't have a Best Buy in the UK, so I don't think so anyway, so I've never seen one. They may not be in the UK, I'm not sure. Fallen behind with getting sick this month. So far, the best is a tiered nail polish display. I hope you feel better, Disc. That sucks. I totally am a physical collector and would rather have my games physical, but I do digital if a game looks absolutely awesome. Yeah, and that's my... that's the thing that I struggle with, is I see amazing games come out, like Katana Zero, and I'm like, ooh, I want to buy the digital, but I'm like, I know this is going to get a physical release at some point from limited run games. You can just feel it, you know what I mean? I don't want to miss out on the experience of a great game. Well, and that's the thing, too, is like, if you wait longer and you try to wait for that physical edition, and it looks like it's never going to manifest, usually those games will go on sale at some point. You can get a better deal on it, at least, as long as you don't mind missing out on the initial, flurry of, excitement and hype surrounding its initial launch. Years later, people could be talking about X game, and I might miss out on it because of sticking to physical only. Yeah, there are no guarantees in life. Do you follow Josh? I'll find you that way. PPG, Caitlin. I can't remember. Hold on, Caitlin. I thought I followed you on Twitter. Yes. Yes, we follow each other on there. Where am I at? I did physical for River City Girls because I wanted River City Girls and I missed the window, but that's on me, right? So now I'll have to contend with the secondhand market if I want a physical copy of that game. And I didn't realize, like at first I kind of I was like, oh, okay, that's a neat kind of a River City thing, and then I just sort of didn't really look into it more. But man, like they did like full music with lyrics. Then I looked at some of the gameplay on Happy Console Gamers channel, and he was showing like how they do like the manga style cut scenes with full voice acting. I was like, ugh, I hate that I didn't pre-order this. That was a mistake. One of my few regrets this year. Made it late, guess I'll catch the tail end. Right on. How are you doing today, Fabian? Thank you for hanging out for a minute. You need to clean those spider webs? I know, right? It's getting out of control. I stay so busy with YouTube stuff. What are games that you play that are from the special Nintendo Online program? Absolutely none. I don't play them. I mean, I have them, I guess, but don't really check them out. River City Girls is awesome. I know it's awesome, and I hate that I can't get the physical. I'm dying inside seeing how much of, because it just, for me too, it's got a lot of, I don't know, it looks like Scott Pilgrim in a lot of ways, which I just love that style, that, I don't know, that feel, that presentation. It's also one of the reasons I'm super excited to go see Anno Monoguchi in concert in about a month or so. Can't wait for, I'm gonna see if they can sign my Nintendo Switch, maybe. We'll see. Or a Game Boy would probably be more appropriate, but we'll see what happens. I'm thinking about getting it, but they don't allow cloud game saves for all games. Yeah, I can see how that could be kind of a showstopper if you game between multiple systems. Ruby City Girls was released from a couple people, I think, on Play Asia as well. I will look into that. I mean, but that's the thing, you can only get the American version through, or the North American version through Limited Run, though, right? They were the only ones that did it. Josh, did you get bitten by a spider? Are you Spider-Man now? You can tell us, Josh. I would never tell you that, right? Can't endanger my Uncle Ben. Download a digital, Josh. Come to the dark side. Oh, Fabian. I have, and it's funny because I have people who are impassioned on both sides right now. Like, some of you in the chat are completely just like, it's physical or nothing at all. And then you've got people like Fabian who are just like, digital or nothing at all in most cases. I'm torn. I walk between the realms. I love both formats. I truly do. I like that shelf candy, man. I dig it. Oh, sushi. People were talking about Doraemon earlier. I needed you to explain it to them. I got the digital for River City Girls, and I bought the Switch cover art from a Limited Run game so I can pretend I have a physical copy. Very cool. Not bad at all. I love that sort console. Wait, what? Ooh, that chat's going fast. Another question, will you get Dragon Quest Trilogy on Switch? They're actually cheap. Yes, I will get Dragon Quest Trilogy on Switch, not digital though. I will be ordering the physical copy from Play Asia. But I don't even think I can justify that. I haven't even tapped into the Mana Trilogy yet, and I've got that rotting on my shelf right now. You know my philosophy, just play the game. I do know your philosophy. You have very little patience or respect for preservation and the physical collecting and perfectly displaying everything. At least not as much as actually playing the game. Personally, there are a variety of arenas that I enjoy when it comes to that. So, I absolutely recommend it. More for co-op than solo, though. So dang fun. Yeah, and then that's the thing. Like, I would love to play it couch co-op with somebody. I got Messenger on Curse Moon digital, but then double dipped and got physical when the option came because I love those games. Some digital games are fine, just digital. Yeah, I got Curse of the Moon and Ritual of the Night, both physical copies. I got the collector's edition after the fact from Warp Zone, which is actually an authorized retailer of limited run games here in Columbus. And when it comes to the Messenger, I held off on getting it digital, and sure enough, it did get a physical release, and now I have it. Now I can actually play it and experience it. There's also that feeling of physically putting a disc card into a console. You can't beat that. I agree. There is a tactile sensation associated with, the physical act of loading up a cartridge that is pleasing. I would agree. Same way people have more respect for physical, like for vinyl, I guess. Red says, are they good? I haven't played them yet. I could not tell you. Have you played them before? No, this will be my first time. My first Dragon Quest experience was with Dragon Quest Builders. My first mainline experience was the more recent, not recent, but kind of Dragon Quest 11. And now I'm going to, try to enjoy more of them because I'm enjoying 11 immensely. Is the Mana Collection only on Switch? I think it's on other platforms, but I know the physical version of that trilogy is available on the Switch. If everything was Steelbook, I would buy everything physical. Nice. Oops, I'm late, was playing Monster Hunter. Ooh, and I needed you earlier. People had so many questions about Doraemon, and I could not answer them, Kawhi. You can use share playing couch co-op for the PS4 now. That's true. My disk drive is slightly broken. That sucks. I wanted it for the physical of Messenger, and I waited for the physical of Messenger, and it was worth it. The Special Reserve Edition was fantastic. Cheaper than Limited Run, and it came with more stuff. Yeah, I didn't get it from there. I got it from Limited Run. Special Reserve is a site that I forget to check periodically. Josh, need you to explain Doraemon and Rune Factory? Yes, there were questions about it. I was ill-equipped to answer them. Just explain Doraemon, and it'll answer itself. Yes, everybody just buy Doraemon. That's why I'm getting strong-armed into doing myself from PlayAsia. I think that makes sense. I got my first game from Limited Run Games 2 days ago. The game is Freedom Planet. I wanted to get that, actually. That looked like a lot of fun, because that's kind of Sonic-y, right, in its presentation. It's kind of 16-bit. What games do you want for the PS5 at launch? I want to remaster The Last of Us 2 at launch. That's the only thing I can think of right off the top of my head. But right now, even though I would love to stay in chat, I got to go get ready for work. But thank you guys for hanging out and talking about the games that you're excited about playing this month. I'll be streaming Ghostbusters probably later tonight around 9 o'clock. Not doing a multiplayer stream tonight, but I will probably continue my trek through Ghostbusters because I love it so much, and I'm very excited for Ghostbusters 2020 next year. Beyond that, multiplayer games coming down the pike for Wednesday nights will be Friday the 13th, Dead by Daylight, and probably another horror multiplayer game that I'm completely forgetting right now. But nonetheless, thank you guys again for taking the time out of your morning. I appreciate it. You could be anywhere in the world right now. You choose to hang out here, and I really, really appreciate it. So have a great rest of your Wednesday, and I will see you on the next